Aloha! Today I'm going to be talking about why dragons exist right now in the fifth dimension, we just can't see them, and why I believe the whole dinosaur story was made up to propagate fear in the collective, to keep us in the survival mode of the lower reptilian nature brain. Because reptiles eat their youngs when they're kids, right? So if you think about it, just certain things about the dinosaur story don't make sense. They have yet to find an entire fossil with all the bones. The Smithsonian museums have admitted that they had to create models of the bones in labs to put together the whole piece of what dinosaurs supposedly look like, the reptiles that ran the earth one time. And I feel like it's very based on old paradigm, false beliefs, and fear. Think about why it's so ingrained in children from a young age, right? So they can program you before you even know it. The dinosaur story was recently written into our history in the 1800s after the colonizers came and tore everything up and put everyone in a fear state with their patriarchy. So, I don't even know where to start. So a lot of the bones that they found of these dinosaurs that are in the museums are potentially what I believe bones of the giants that used to roam Earth. They're referred to as the Nephilim, as well as the dragons that actually did roam Earth one time. And they ascended into the 5D because they no longer served a purpose here. People started to fear them when humanity had their great fall in consciousness. People who are not awakened to the power of their own Kundalini energy naturally aren't going to believe in dragons because they haven't seen it in themselves yet. They haven't seen like the etheric spirit embodied in their own self. So if you look at the Chinese zodiac as well, there are 12 signs and it maps a bigger cycle than the Western and the Vedic systems. But together, the three, or all systems of astrology, including Mayan, are relevant in our everyday life. They just map out different cycles the same cycle in a different way. And in the Chinese zodiac, the dragon is one of the animals. Why would they have a mythological creature next to common animals like the rat, the rooster, the monkey, the dog, the pig? These are all just normal everyday animals, and then they have a dragon and a snake. So I feel like snakes are the feminine side, whereas dragons represent the self-mastery part of the Kundalini. So Ida and Pingala, the masculine and the feminine, are united, and as a result, the dragons are able to ascend. So the real stories are written in the Akashic Records, and whatever story they said about the dinosaur, the Big Bang, and the dinosaurs appeared or disappeared one day, whatever the story they told, is that really in the Akashic Records? Because I went looking one time and it just didn't resonate with me. So this is why, and dragons exist now in the 5D. And all the dimensions are simultaneously overlaying each other. So if your third eye isn't open, then you can't see the dragon that just flew right by you. It could have been like, I call them butterflies of the ether. It could have been just like a breeze, but it was actually a dragon flying by you. Because they're etheric beings now. They've left this dimension entirely. They've ascended. They have so much wisdom to teach us as well, and we have to rise up to meet them. I don't believe in dinosaurs. I feel like it's very based on the fear paradigm of the reptilian brain, which is in survival mode all the time, right? So reptiles eat their youngs, and they believe that it's easier to control a population if this fear of the reptiles is implanted in our minds from a young age to propagate fear, rather than seeing the beauty of the reptilian species. Because there's the benevolent ones as well as the darker ones that are a part of our program, that are running the program now. So if you believe in snakes and you believe in birds, and I believe that, then how would you not be able to believe that something as beautiful and ancient and royal and majestic as the dragons once roamed the earth also had feathers too, and they were beautiful creatures that were an honor to be in the presence of, because they had so much wisdom of the feminine and the masculine energy. So much that they ascended through the Sushumna channel. But are you ready for that yet? I don't know. They used to roam Earth, and they're written in there's historic evidence and written down stories about a time when the dragons actually roamed Earth with humans. So dragons represent the mastery of the Kundalini. They are feminine in nature in that they represent higher evolved snakes. And this ties to the Adam and Eve story, which I'm about to go into. The story of Adam and Eve is about the dawn of creation after Genesis, right? So in the garden, the snake was the one who deceived Eve to create the original sin. So the snake is also a lower representation of the dragon because it is just the creative force that is moved by its survival mode, so its shadow aspect. And it's in mythology, astrologically, Lilith, Adam's first wife, actually came back as a snake that deceived Eve, who was Adam's second wife. So Lilith represents the shadow feminine aspect. Astrologically, it represents the part of the moon's orbit that is the furthest away from the sun and the earth. So it's like the darkest part of the moon's cycle around the earth. So it also represents the part that nobody really sees. It's the part that we like to keep hidden and pretend is not there. But in the story, it says that women came from man's rib. What that means is, if we're talking about creation, sacred geometry, in the beginning there was a great void and there was one point of light in the middle of the void. And in the first movement that was created by sound was in a straight line. So point A moved to point B, and that created the Vesica Pisces, which represents the feminine. So in the Adam and Eve story, the first movement was a straight line. In sacred geometry, if you look at a golden means rectangle, the masculine is represented by the straight line, and the feminine is always represented by the continual, spiraling line. And they move together to the same point, but in different ways, in different times. But when the two unite together, that is when from the root of the Kundalini to the crown of the Kundalini, that's when the Sushumna channel is open, and you have this infinite connection to spirit, and you become an eternal being. When the snake becomes self-mastered, this is the divine masculine aspect. The Ida and Pingala, the two Kundalini snakes that are feminine and masculine, are able to create a DNA strand and channel in the middle that allows you to be connected to this all-knowing consciousness, to God. Thank you for watching.